Jungkook was leaning against his locker, arms crossed as students scrambled to avoid him. His black leather jacket, messy black hair, and pierced eyebrow gave him an intimidating look. But it was the signature bad boy glare that sealed the deal. It wasn't just his appearance, his reputation did most of the work. He wasn't just feared, he was untouchable. Hey Jungkook, she came, her voice overly sweet as she tucked her hair behind her ear. Can I borrow your notes from chemistry? Jungkook raised a brow, barely sparing her a glance. Do I look like I take notes? Her confidence crumbled instantly, her cheeks flushing red. Oh, never mind. She stammered, turning on her heel and walking away. Hana, his best friend, burst out laughing beside him. You are such a menace. Couldn't you at least pretend to be nice for once? Jungkook smirked, the corner of his lips curling in that infuriatingly confident way. Nice doesn't work for me, keeps the weak ones away. You really take this bad boy act too seriously. Hana said, rolling her eyes but smiling nonetheless. She was the only one who could talk to Jungkook like this, the only one he would listen to. She had known him since childhood and she was well aware that underneath the leather jacket and tough exterior, he wasn't as cruel as he wanted the world to believe. As Hana rambled about how his bad boy reputation was getting out of hand, Jungkook's eyes drifted. Out of the corner of his vision, he spotted you standing by the locker across the hallway. You were focused on organizing your books, completely oblivious to the chaos of the students around you. And to him, Jungkook frowned slightly. Even though he was just a few steps away, you didn't spare him a single glance, not even a flicker of acknowledgement. Weird, he thought, crossing his arms tighter. He remembered how when you first transferred to the school, you used to look at him, not in fear like everyone else, but with a kind of curiosity, like you were trying to figure him out. For some reason, that look had stuck with him. But now, you didn't even glance his way, as if he didn't exist. Hana snapped her fingers in front of his face, breaking his train of thoughts. Earth to Jungkook, huh? Jungkook muttered, blinking as he turned back to her. Hana tilted her head, a mischievous smirk playing on her lips. What were you staring at? Nothing, Jungkook said quickly, but his voice lacked its usual conviction. Hana followed his gaze to where you were standing, then raised a brow. Were you staring at Vian? Why would I? Jungkook scoffed, turning his attention back to his locker. I don't know, you tell me. Hana teased, poking his shoulder. You looked pretty distracted there for a second. Don't be ridiculous. Jungkook muttered, but the slight furrow in his brow betrayed him. Hana leaned against the locker beside him, studying his face. You're acting weird, she said, her tone more curious now. I'm not acting weird, Jungkook said firmly, shutting his locker with more force than necessary. Hana shrugged, but the knowing smile on her face didn't waver. Sure, whatever you say, John. After that day, don't know how, but Jungkook's eyes searched for you. He noticed that even he walked past you, you don't pay attention, as if he's invisible to you, and that started bothering him even more. He wasn't used to this ignorance, especially when he has seen like you looking at him for a whole year when you first came. Are you even paying attention? Hana asked, nudging his arm. Yes, sure, Jungkook replied absent-mindedly, though his gaze was elsewhere. Hana followed his line of sight and spotted you walking out of the class, clutching a stack of books. As usual, you walked past him without so much as a glance. There you go again, Hana said, crossing her arms and smirking. Jungkook frowned. What are you talking about? You are staring at Vian, Hana accused. Her tone was playful but curious. No, I'm not, Jungkook replied defensively, his jaw tightening. Yes, you are. Hana said, poking his shoulder. And don't even try to deny it. I've caught you staring at her like 3 times this week. Jungkook sighed, running a hand through his hair. She's just weird. Weird? How so? Hana raised an eyebrow. She doesn't look at me. Jungkook said, his voice quieter now, almost as if he were talking to himself. Hana blinked in surprise. And that bothers you? It's not about bothering me, Jungkook said quickly, straightening up. She used to back then. It's just unusual. Unusual how? Everyone looks at me, Jungkook said simply, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world, even if it's just for a second. But her, nothing. It's like I don't exist. Hana stared at him for a moment before bursting out laughing. Oh my god, Jungkook, are you seriously sulking because someone isn't giving you attention? I'm not sulking, Jungkook snapped, glaring at her. You totally are, Hana teased, doubling over in laughter. Jungkook scowled, his face flushing slightly. Shut up, Hana. You are ridiculous, Hana said, wiping a tear from the corner of her eye. But honestly, it's kind of funny. You, John Jungkook, the school's bad boy, are all bent out of shape because one girl doesn't worship the ground you walk on. It's not like that, Jungkook muttered, though even he didn't sound convinced. Sure, whatever you say, but admit it. She has got your attention. Jungkook didn't respond, instead looking back in the direction you had gone. He wasn't sure why it bothered him so much. Maybe it was because he wasn't used to being ignored, or maybe it was because deep down he knew there was something different about you. Later that week, Jungkook found himself walking down the hallway when he spotted you at your locker. He smirked and strode over, fully prepared to make you acknowledge him. Hey Ryan, he said, leaning against the locker next to yours. You didn't even glance at him nor reply, making him frown and desperate. I said hi there. He waited again. It was really new and surprising for him. First, he himself approached someone by himself and got ignored. Are you deaf or purposely ignore people? You closed your locker, turning towards him. Yes, I do. What do you want? Jungkook blinked. He wasn't used to this. Just saying hi. Hi, you said flatly. Why do you always ignore me? He asked, stepping in front of you before you could walk away. Because I don't have time for people like you. You replied. Your tone was indifferent. People like me? What does this supposed to mean? Jungkook repeated, genuinely curious. Arrogant, hot-headed, overrated. You listed, brushing past him. Jungkook stared after you, his usual confidence shaken. When he returned to class, Hana was waiting for him with a knowing smirk. How did it go? She asked. She called me overrated. Jungkook muttered, plopping into his seat. Hana burst out laughing. I love her already. Despite your constant rejection, Jungkook couldn't help but keep noticing the little things about you. How you chewed your pen when you were focused. How you stayed behind after class to help the teacher clean up. How you laugh, rare as it was, lit up the room. A new gossip started that the bad boy who only had a soft spot for Hana was now doing anything he could to get your attention. It was surprising and unusual. During a group project, the teacher paired the two of you together. Jungkook smirked as he slid into the seat beside you. Looks like we are stuck together. Great. You replied sarcastically, not even looking up. As the two of you worked, Jungkook tried to make conversation. So, what's your deal? He asked. My deal? You echoed, raising an eyebrow. Yeah, you are always so quiet, but you have got a sharp tongue when it comes to me, he said with a grin. You shrugged. I don't like attention, and you are the definition of attention. Touchy, Jungkook said, chuckling. For the rest of the session, Jungkook found himself softening his tone, listening to your ideas, and even doing more work than he usually would, all without realizing it. When Hana walked by and saw Jungkook quietly writing notes while you directed him, her jaw dropped. Who are you and what have you done with Jungkook? She teased. Shut up, Hana, Jungkook muttered, though a small smile tugging at his lips. It was a rainy Monday morning when Jungkook's temper flared in class. A nervous freshman had accidentally slipped juice on his pristine white jacket. Are you blind? Jungkook stamped, glaring at the kid. I'm so sorry. The boy stammered, looking like he might cry. Relax, it's just juice. You said from the back as you came out of the class. Jungkook turned to you, his glare softening into confusion. What? You heard me. It's not the end of the world. The students fell silent, everyone holding their breath. No one talked back to Jungkook, not unless they had a death wish. Do you even know who you are talking to? Jungkook asked, his tone both annoyed and amused. Someone overly dramatic about his clothes. You replied with a shrug. The corner of Jungkook's mouth twitched as he suppressed a smile. You have got guts, and you have got a stain. Saying that, you walked away, leaving him amused and happy. Jungkook had made it his mission to get your attention, but no matter what he did, you seemed immune to his charm. Why? Jungkook called as he jogged up to you in the hallway. What? You asked, not slowing your pace. You forgot your pen in class, he said, holding it out to you. Keep it. You replied without looking back. Hana burst out laughing behind him. Wow, she really doesn't care about you, does she? Shut up, Jungkook muttered, though he couldn't help but grin. Word spread quickly around the school that Jungkook, the infamous bad boy, had started acting different, especially when it came to you. During lunch, Hana and Jungkook sat together as usual, but this time, Hana couldn't stop teasing him. You carried her books today, Hana pointed out, grinning. They were heavy, Jungkook said defensively. You have never carried anyone's books before, so what? And you smiled at her like a real smile, not your smug bad boy smirk. Jungkook groaned, running a hand through his hair. Why are you so obsessed with this? Because it's hilarious. The great John Jungkook brought to his knees by a girl who doesn't even like him. She'll like me eventually, Jungkook said confidently. You sure about that? Because it seemed like you were the one falling for her. Jungkook didn't respond, his gaze drifting towards you across the cafeteria. After weeks of trying and failing to win you over, Jungkook finally decided to take a direct approach. He caught you after school holding a small bouquet of flowers he had picked up on the way. Why? He called, jogging up to you. What now, John? You asked, exasperated. I like you, Jungkook blurted out, holding out the flowers. You stared at him stunned. Is this a joke? No, Jungkook said, his voice uncharacteristically soft. I know I'm not the best guy, but I want to be, for you. You hesitated, unsure of how to respond. What do you say? I know you feel something about me. I've noticed you the entire freshman year. You used to look at me. Your cheeks turned pink. What made you think that I looked at you? You said defensively, but he looked at you with a grin. You are not even denying. And I know the truth. You are ridiculous. Saying that you started walking, hiding the embarrassment on your face, but he grabbed your hand, making your heart skip a beat. He walked behind you. Stop walking away. Why are you ignoring me all this time? I have been trying to talk to you for so long. You always paid attention to Hannah. I thought you liked her more, and I didn't want to make things awkward, so I kept my distance. You finally admitted, looking down. Jungkook stepped closer, tilting your chin up to meet his gaze. Wait, you really thought I liked Hannah that way? You hesitated, unsure how to respond, but your gaze lowered to the ground. Jungkook's expression shifted to one of surprise, as if the thought had never occurred to him. Why, Hannah is like a sister to me. We have known each other since we were kids, but that's all she has ever been to me. I never looked at her like that. Your heart pounding, you pulled your hand away gently, stepping back slightly. But what about all the times you have been around Hannah? You have always been so close to her. I thought maybe that's where your heart was. Jungkook sighed, his eyes softening as he stepped closer again, his hand reaching for yours. Jungkook looked sincere with a hint of frustration. I get why you would think that, but it's not like that. I've always just been comfortable with Hannah because she has been my friend since forever. We have never crossed that line, and I never wanted to complicate things, but with you, it's different. You make me feel like maybe I'm ready to face that what I've been avoiding. You couldn't help but feel a little overwhelmed by his words, the confusion inside you beginning to clear up, your voice trembling slightly. I didn't want to get my hopes up, Jungkook. I didn't want to think that you could feel the same way about me. A soft laugh escaping him as he took another step closer. Then why would you keep avoiding me? I thought you were just playing hard to get. You shook your head, finally looking into his eyes, the truth weighing on your heart. Because I was scared. I was scared of putting myself out there, of getting hurt, and you, well, you always seem to have your attention on everyone else, never on me. Shankuk took a moment, his expression softening as he reached up to tuck a strand of hair behind your ear. Well, now you know I'm here, Ryan. All of me. No more games, no more pretending. I want to try this with you, if you'll have me. You stood there for a moment, your breath catching in your throat. It was all so overwhelming, but as you looked into his eyes, something inside you clicked. The uncertainty melting away. Okay, let's try. Jungkook's face lit up with a smile that made your heart race, his hand softly brushing against yours as you leaned in a little closer. I'm glad because I really like you, Ryan. And in that moment, everything felt right. The walls you had built around yourself began to crumble, and for the first time, you allowed yourself to truly believe in what was beginning to unfold before you, too. By the way, do you still think I'm overrated? You looked at him as he asked this so innocently, making you chuckle. Did it upset you when I said that? He scratched the back of his neck. Not that much, but yeah. You laughed, making him smile seeing you. Well, that was just to annoy you. Don't take that seriously. He looked at you amazed. You are really amazing. You winked at him, making him chuckle.